Orc smash! Ugh. Let's draw an orc. Hello there, my name is Philip and welcome to Totally Amazing. And today we're continuing on our fantasy races by drawing an orc. Ah yes, orcs, those big green brutish fellows. Kind of like the Hulk, but not quite. They've also got these fangs that come up from the bottom of their mouth, and there are a few subtle differences. They're a very popular race amongst fantasy characters. World of Warcraft, you see them all the time. They're even in my comic Antispire. In fact, I've got two prominent orcs in my comic. I've got Naramak, who is the chief of the orcs, and he's a magic user, he's very powerful. And you've got Grimback here, who's a bit of a rogue. He gets around doing backstabbing. He's a sneaky fellow. But when you think of an orc, you probably don't think of a mage or a rogue straight away. You probably think of a warrior. So what we're going to do, we're going to draw a standard orc warrior today. Alrighty, so as you can see here from my fantasy races guide, we have our dwarf, elf, human, and orc. Now orcs are the biggest races there. They are tall and they are wide. So you're sort of taking the height of an elf with the width of a dwarf, and then you get the orc. And the poor human there is just not going to have much fun dealing with him, I don't think, at all. So now, let us mark this parchment in the blood of our enemies. Or in other words, let's get started. Alrighty, so let's start off with drawing the stick figure of our orc. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a bit of a back here. Now one thing to take note with orcs is they don't have a straight back. So their back's not straight like ours. They sort of have a bit more of a hunch, their head's a little bit forward. So I'm going to draw a circle or an upside down egg a little bit off center from the spine. And remember I said that orcs have a rather wide bodies, so I'm going to draw some wide guides for the shoulders and the pelvis. I'll draw a bit of a mark in there for the pelvis and a jelly bean at the top here for the shoulders. Now see how already it's much significantly wider than you would draw for a human. And we're going to have the arms coming down on either side with big fists, and the legs are also going to be rather large. Now let's put in a bit of meat on our bones. Now a lot of meat, because this is going to be a big dude. So I'm going to have a big circle. Now remember, for dwarves you do big circles, for the orcs you do the same. So I'm going to put in big circles for the parts of the body to help me get the right proportions of our body for our big fella who is our orc here. Now I'm going to put a little bit of an extra line for the reference for the neck. Alright, so there's our basic proportions of our orc. So let's start putting some details on the head. Okay, so orcs, they have sort of an upturned nose usually. So what I'm going to do there, I'm going to put in a guide for my face, and then the nose, you're going to see more of that nostril. So I'm going to put in lines either side with a bit of a top. So it's 1, 2, and a curve. That'll give you a basic shape for your nose. Then the eyes, I'm going to put in, first of all, a tick either side for the angry eyebrows, and then curve either side for the eyes. Put in little beady eyes. Now for the mouth, I'm going to go a bit lower than I usually would for a human. So I'm going to put in the mouth. So usually I put the mouth probably there, but I'm actually going lower because I want to stretch this part of the face down a bit. I'm going to put a line underneath, and then we're going to put a triangle on either side of the mouth to give him those fangs. So I'm an orc. Now for the actual facial structure, we want to have rather jagged angles. So I'm going to go out rather wide for the cheek and the eye socket over here. Then I'm going to come down, and we're going to have a harsh angle in, and the chin's going to be a bit pointy, protruding from out of the actual cheek itself. And I curve the head around, nice and smooth, and then the ear is going to come up, and we're going to have a little bit of a point to the ear on either side. So now I'm going to give him a bit of a ponytail, because all his hair's tied back up here, but he's basically got a bald head. He's just got a ponytail at the back. That's what he wants to do. Hey, it's his choice. So I'm going to put a little bit of a line just above the eyebrow, just to make it look thicker, make it look more muscly, and just finally we want to put a little bit of a line down either side. Okay, so let's start working on his chest now. So he's going to have a big chest. So he's going to have big pectoral muscles. So it's basically like a curvy W that you're putting on the chest there, but we're also going to have a bit at the top too. It's going to almost join at the top there. And we're going to put little C's for the nipples because he's going to be showing them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a rectangle at the waist here. Another rectangle inside with a square for the belt. And now just to make it look cool, I'm going to put a bit of a sash on him, but it's not going to be a simple sash. It's going to be studded. So what we're going to do, we're going to draw ice cream cones along the side here to make it look like that's where the spikes are. So he's got this leather and it's got spikes on it. He's really tough. He's really... Okay, so we've got the rest of the body to go. So we've got the chest, and we're going to come around and we're going to make sure the back is protruding a bit. And what I'm going to do for the side muscles here, a little trick, is just basically put in 3 little curves like so. That's all you need to give it the impression that that's where those muscles are. And then on this side, we're going to extend that a little bit out back. And now we're going to have a big, broad set of abs. Remember, we're thinking broad when we're thinking orc. It's going to come down there. And then for the pants, I'm going to give him some furs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of a, give myself a bit of a guide. And now I'm going to go out and in along the edges of it. Coming up and back there. And that'll give us a nice fur, sort of like He-Man, sort of, really, he's been hunting a lot. He's very successful at what he does. Okay, so let's start working on the arms now. So we want big, bulging arms. So we've got a big circle here. So what I'm going to do is going to have a joining from the shoulder here, from the top of the neck. I'm going to go a big shoulder muscle over here. And it's going to come from the bicep and come around. And I'm going to put an extra little line there just to accentuate that strength, that his muscles are really well defined. Now for the bicep, you want a big curve. Sort of think of a circle over here. And then we're going to have a bit of a bulge out and back up there. And a little V shape for the elbow. There's our top of the shoulder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him some gloves that are going to be very similar to the pants that we did. So I'm going to draw a curved line. And then I'm going to draw some jagged lines at the top there. And now I'm going to bring it down to the arm. And I'm going to actually continue it along. So it's sort of like he's got a fingerless glove. So it's a big glove. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the hand. Like that, put a little bit of an elbow, knuckle there. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just put some bouncy lines across to close the glove off, and then just to accentuate the glove, I'm going to put in some little extra lines there to make it look like it's a material that's on his body. So that's one arm. Let's do the same on the other side. So remember, we're going from the shoulder, nice big broad shoulder muscles that continue and then join up at the pectoral muscle there. Put in another little bit there to accentuate the boldness of the muscle. This time the biceps are facing this way. And bring that back to the base there. So it's all one big muscle. Now again, we've got to put in our elbow and we're going to draw the gloves. So again, we go out a little bit. And then we put in some jagged lines at the top there. Now we draw our fist. So I'm going to draw my fist like so. The basics of what I want the fist to look like, and then bring the arm up, put in some ripples up there, and we close it off for the glove, and then again we put in some extra little lines here to show that it's cloth. All right, so now let's work it on the legs. Okay, so the legs, we're going to have some big muscles in the leg muscle. With the legs, the top of the legs, I want you to think of 3s: tier, triangle, tier. That's the easiest way to remember the muscle shapes of the top of the leg. So what it is, we've got a tier 1. Triangle at the top there, 2, and another tier 3. And that's the basic structure of the muscles in the top of the leg. You get that done, it shows really easy that your character's really muscly in the legs. Okay, so now for the knee, we're going to put in a bit of a U shape over here and continue that with the leg. And like we did with the arms, we're going to put in some boots. Bring them down. And bring that back up. And again, we just have a few little lines there to show that it's clothing. It's not attached. Make sure your fuzzy stuff here goes beyond the actual shape of the leg as well. Same on this side. So remember, we've got our leg, and we've got our 1, 2, 3. So we've got a triangle. I'm going to start with the triangle at the top because from this angle it's easier. And then tier, tier. Muscly legs. There you go. And then we've got our knee, which is a U shape. Now we're going to draw our boot. So remember, go out a little bit. Fuzzy, wavy lines at the top. Come in, And then we draw our feet. And we put in our extra little lines to show that it's material. All right, so there's the penciling of our character done. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my marker and I'm gonna mark in all the lines that I wanna keep, and then I'm gonna get my rubber and rub out all the lines I don't wanna keep. And then I'm gonna get my colors and color them in. And there you have it, our orc. He looks tough and mean, doesn't he? Really strong and burly. But I bet he's got a really lovely personality. So remember, with your orcs, you want to think tall and wide. They're really big, really strong. Heads a little bit forward a bit, pointy ears, pointy teeth, and there's your basics for drawing an orc.
Me orc needs something to smash. Check out video on screen right now. So me smash dwarf. Yes, you look now. Arr.